That's not good. That's not good. Today in the shop, we have this 2019 Volkswagen Golf R with about 54,000 miles on it. Customer states they have a really bad noise coming from the rear end of their car. Now, normally, we do a deep dive diagnosis with chassis ears, screwdrivers, and all that. However, I know exactly what happened, and it's not gonna be pretty. What we're looking at here is the rear drive unit in our Golf R. This is our Haldex or Borg-Warner controller, and back here is our rear differential. The client tried to do a Haldex service, but ended up making a mistake and draining the differential. Now you might be thinking, how did someone screw this up so bad? And unlike most every other drain plug in the car, the drain plug for the Haldex looks just like any other bolt. And while it's not super common, I've seen professionals make this mistake too. Now, lucky for him, and lucky for me, I have a diff from a 2019 Volkswagen Golf R. That went way further than I expected it to. The owner of this car super lucked out. No fluid for 9,000 miles can lead to two major catastrophic failures. One, this diff exploding and all the inside parts becoming outside parts. The other, and really the more severe thing, is the rear diff locking and locking the whole powertrain up and actually damaging the bevel box or the transmission up front. Now, before we get wild and crazy, especially because we're gonna take this bad boy apart, I'm gonna drain our fluids. Ooh, that looks real dirty. Ooh, we should capture some of it. I'm gonna be too late. I'm gonna be too late. I'm gonna be too late. Why wasn't I thinking of that? Now, we really shouldn't have any damage to the Haldex. I don't know if you could see that two-toneness of the fluid. Like there's almost 2 layers of fluid. There is some crust in there. Yeah, normally that fluid does not look like that. All right, here's the real deal. Let's hope that this doesn't smell like death. One drop. There actually was a part of this story that I don't think I mentioned yet. This guy brought this car to the dealer first and they drained a little bit of the fluid. So this fluid that you're seeing right now came out of the diff, but this is right before I got the car. So it's pretty chunky and nasty in there. Oh, that's chunks? That's literal chunks. There you go. There is a little bit of a cheat code to getting the diff out without having to drop that whole entire rear subframe. You might remember when we did this swap on the yellow car, we dropped this whole rear cassette down and out, which made doing the diff really easy. It was just chilling on the bench. We're gonna not do that because that's too much work. Teardown to get to that diff is not horrible. We do have a handful of things we need to take off, but I thought I'd drop this little tip on you because we're pulling the wheels. If you have wheel bolts like this Golf does, and you don't wanna juggle the wheel, get yourself some wheel hangers. This one's out of a Torag. Then check this out. You can just do this. Then you don't have to worry about the wheel falling on you when you take the last bolt out. And now's the opportunity where you can just complain that VW, Audi, BMW, the German cars use bolts instead of nuts. I'm gonna remove the whole back end of the exhaust. Also, if you do exhaust work, you gotta have a pair of these for the hangers. This is my right leg workout. Oh, good thing I put those safety glasses on. Would've got faced. I hope I didn't set the parking brake. Nope, going down. I set the parking brake, so I can't spin the drive shaft, prop shaft, amateur hour. Let me see if I can just get them out without. Nope. Car's in park, but that shouldn't matter. I'm just gonna get one of these obnoxiously big zip ties and hook it around this little bracket here that the gas tank bolts to. That way when I take this last bolt out and shift the engine, prop shaft doesn't go flying. Get up there. There we go. Stuck. There it goes. I'm gonna take our 2 dog bone mount bolts out next. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pry our engine forward a little. We're gonna shove a block of wood right there. That'll give us enough room to pop the prop shaft off in the back side. Oh, there we go. My block of wood fell, that's not helpful. I'm gonna undo the sway bar next. This is a lot of like clearing things out of the way just to get to the diff. Luckily, all this stuff pretty easy. This car must be from up north. It's not rusted, but it's got some crusties. I say it in most every video that we do because it's, well, most every bolt is basically, or maybe technically is a better word, one-time use. We're gonna two-time use most of these. Maybe now you'll cooperate. I just said I was gonna do this all by hand, but now I'm annoyed, so we're not. Now we gotta do some control arm action. This is probably more than actually needs to be done. I'm pretty confident if we just took this outer bolt out, we could push this axle out of the way enough. But we're here, since we're taking one suspension bolt out that we should replace, why not just take them all out? Let me point out something to you. So this is the nut for the rear shock absorber. I set it on the ground, the direction that it faces in the car. Same thing with the sway bar end link. So notice the nut is towards the back of the car. That's how it is in the car. Nut towards the front of the car. That's how it is in the car. And then the outermost one for the hub or the knuckle should be here, but I actually put that back in the car. If I left that on the ground, it would be hub, shock absorber, sway bar end link, just like it is in the car. Take our whole rear sway bar out. There we go. Now we can get this guy out of the way. Our bolts that hold the actual diff in are up here, and they go from the top down. If these bolts were facing bottom up, this would be simple. We could just unbolt, 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 swing the whole diff out of the way. However, what we need to do is get to the top side of this bolt, and there's maybe an inch, probably not even of clearance, but that's okay, because I got a plan. There is a spec for like the max you can lower this. Basically, I'm just gonna lower it far enough to be able to get the bolts out. This part requires a special tool. The bolts are triple squares. Remember, 2 down and then 1 up that's up here in the front. And you're gonna really struggle to get like a ratchet with a socket on it. So they have this little guy. This is one I had from another toolkit. So you can put a wrench on it and loosen the bolt. All I'm gonna do is just crack it loose. Then we're gonna switch back to the regular wrench. That real bad situation I'm trying to avoid is getting the wrench stuck. Now, I would absolutely not hesitate to grab a pair of pliers if I needed to, but I was able to loosen that one by hand pretty easy. Now you'll notice I don't have enough room to get this bolt out. We're gonna have to leave this bolt in when I take it out and make sure I put it in there before it comes back in. So getting this out is gonna be a little bit of a juggling act. I'm gonna try and shove it all the way to the driver's side, pop the passenger axle out, shift it to the passenger side, and then drop it down. Did what I say actually, is it gonna work? Don't worry about that. We can swap those. That ain't not bad at all. Crusty, definitely an up north car. Now, in case I didn't mention why I have this extra diff, this is actually the diff from my yellow car, because when we did the Daza swap, we used the diff from the Audi, so I didn't need it. I mean, honestly, it worked out super good for this dude. I don't know what MSRP is on one of these things, but I gave him a pretty good price. The labor for this job was right about 4 hours for warranty, which is about 6 hours customer pay, which is, depending on where you are, anywhere from probably $600 to $1,000+ maybe even more, just in labor. I don't know what the parts cost is, but I got a guy that knows, so let's call Paulie D. He'll know right off the top of his head. He won't even have to look it up. See if he can answer.
Hello.
Hey, pop quiz hotshot. There's a bomb on the bus, and it's gonna explode if you don't...
Is the bus going 88 miles an hour?
Yeah. Is that... No, it was 50 miles an hour, I thought. I have a question for you about the price of a part without Paul install option. 2019 Volkswagen Golf R, rear differential assembly.
Okay, let's see, Golf R. I got your VIN here.
He doesn't need the VIN because he's got my VIN. Is all-wheel drive.
Dial.
Ooh, speed dial. That's how much. That's how many parts I buy from Paul.
Rear differential for that car.
Yeah.
$4,240.08.
$420,000, 4,200, and I stopped listening after that. Plus 1,000 to 1,500 doll hairs in labor. That's a big oops. I should have charged him more for this diff. Okay, say bye to the friends at home.
Bye, friends.
Before I put the new one in, listen to this. Versus We'll just call this one super sad, and this one sounds real fresh. I'm gonna work on getting this one put back in. Installation is reverse of removal, as repair manuals love to say, but if I bump into anything important, I'll let you know. After that, we gotta get this thing taken apart because I gotta see this damage. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be so good. Oh, there we go. Heck yeah. Tech tip of the day, work the axles up at the same time. That'll go in pretty smooth. Crusty. Obviously, here's our diff. This is our Carnage one with all the noise. Now, what was really interesting is there's actually only like 3 repairs for this whole entire unit. 4, I guess, if you count replacing the whole deal at that cool $4,300. You can replace the seals for the axles. Well, I guess the module you can too. And then this front Haldex clutch setup. Otherwise, that's it. There's no repair information for the diff itself, so we're flying blind. But that's okay, we're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna start by taking this module off so I don't break it, because in theory, the module should still be good and we can hold that for another day. I am gonna try and take the Haldex or Borg-Warner coupling unit off first, and I think I can just pop these 4 16s off the front side. 4. Even though this is basically scrap, I'm gonna try and not destroy it. There really shouldn't be a lot, but let's be honest, there's always a certain level of residual fluid in there. All right, so this is our coupling clutch. Oh, that was not very much fluid at all, just this little bit. Look at all this grime and yuck around the outer rim here. Oh, there it went, it splooshed. All bets are off now. I'm sure I've already mentioned this, but the coupling fluid, which is the fluid we're dealing with here, is different than the differential fluid. Let's pull the motor out though real quick. Now, we just serviced the one on my yellow car and it came out awesome, but these motors getting blocked up with metal, super duper common. It looks like there's no metal contaminant, but man, that fluid is nasty. Maybe it was seeing different wheel speeds, activating the clutches more. This is why I mentioned in that video where we checked my yellow car. Do this as part of your Haldex service and then recheck your fluid level. What you would do if you were replacing the seal here, which is again the only repair you can really do according to the repair manual, is you would connect a slide hammer. You're basically overcoming the C-clip that's inside of here. I'll show you in a second. Now, doing that, slide hammer on the bench is probably not a great option, but I think we're gonna try it. Slide hammers can be fun, if not dramatic. They're only fun when they work. That worked, no problem. I don't know if you can see that yet. All inside of that seal is just carnage. Here, watch this. Ruh-roh. That is not good. Ultra sadness. Ultra sad. Now we can get this half or third, more accurately, of the case apart. Normally, these kind of things, they just twist. Those don't want to do it. There we go. Nothing a little fire can't solve. Oh, it stinks. It's very smelly. Very smelly. That sounded much better. All right, this is gonna be the moment, the revelio, if you will. This is gonna be good. Are you guys ready for this? Watch this. I know what's wrong with it. It ain't got no needles in it. Look at that. 9,000 miles of no fluid, or I should say almost no fluid. Given that it was really only making a bit of clunking, that's kind of wild. I would expect just a constant like grinding and crunching. Like it was making some noise, right? Like we all heard the noise it was making, but I wouldn't put the bit of noise that we heard and assign this level of chaos and carnage to it, because this is like mega catastrophic, like super catastrophic. A lot of this is bits of the bearing race. This ring used to house all these little guys. This is the bearing, like the bearing housing, and these little guys are supposed to live in there, and then this is a cage that holds them all in, and it's just, let's do this. Wow. Any hopes of salvaging this case probably are gone. I often worry sometimes we're not able to accurately like show the damage, but look at that. I have definitely never seen one of these rear ends failed this bad. This piece right here is the bearing race. This is pressed in. Well, it's supposed to be pressed in. It should not move at all or woggle around at all. And this is supposed to be over here. So this is where our differential fluid lives. This area over here is where the Haldex fluid or the coupling fluid is. What's crazy, it's nasty in the coupling side too. Sad, sad, sad. But let's get the rest of this out of here. So here's a perfect example. This and all these little bits and this thing and that other thing that I said was supposed to be over here, that's what it looked like before. So these are magnets that are meant to hold like small particles. And you'll notice that I'm not really picking up much of this stuff, which means all that's aluminum. So we probably have some case shaving that happened. "900 years later, we have our steel disc. The steel discs get hung up. There we go. Okay, so with the condition of the coupling fluid, the curiosity of what the clutches actually look like got the better of me. So we took the Haldex coupler or Borg-Warner coupler apart, and while our friction discs look pretty good, we got some scoring on our steel discs. They're not horrible, but there's definitely some yuck on there. Normally, when these are bad, this part that's golden colored or yellow colored is like dark brown. That's that. This goes here that I'll never get back together. This is the other part of this. Basically, guy did service. Drained this fluid, topped off this fluid. That left us with almost no fluid in the diff. Why is that a problem? Well, these gears inside of here, they don't actually ride together. There's a thin film of oil that separates them. So now we ain't got no lubrication, and really what is big time bad, we don't have anything to cool. My theory on why the coupling fluid looks so bad, other than it never had been serviced, is I think the overheating of this likely caused the coupling fluid to get too hot, causing this fluid to be sad, and then, well, you see ASMR, what happened to our diff. So let this be a lesson to all of you. Make sure you're taking your time when you're doing DIY stuff and you're doing the right thing, and always go back and double check your work. And I have a video on how to change this coupling fluid if you're not sure. So with that, I'm out. We're gonna pull this car out, go on a test drive, and I'm gonna find something to do with this carnage. Have an awesome day. I'll talk to you again next time. If you want more Mark 7, 7.5, or Mark 8 videos, I have playlists for all of it.